Hi, my name is Kali. I work for Coldwell Costa, and I have been an agent for over a decade. I started with Century 21, and then when I sold my first multifamily property, I decided to jump into a better. I mean, it's better, yeah, but I don't know if I should say that. But I decided to jump into the firm. You know, I saw it like my next step. You know, Century 21, it was a good school to learn from the beginning, but this is, you know, I feel it like it's more professional. So I started my law degree, but I didn't finish. So I have some knowledge in law for Mexican law. So before starting as a real estate agent, I started a law degree. So I applied this knowledge into real estate right now. So that's wonderful. Once I sold my first multifamily property, I decided to build, because it was a fixer-upper and a multifamily. It was an opportunity, a really good opportunity. I decided to help the buyers to build it. I decided to, with the renovation, you know, I decided with help on the renovations and, you know, finding people. They were from the US and Canada, so it was a little bit hard for them to get to know people and get to know the right people especially. So I was involved in all that. They bring me a lot of knowledge, so that was wonderful. That's one of the main reasons I did it, because I just love to learn and I love to help people. So that's just was a wonderful experience. I stayed with them like for 3 years. So that gave me a really good knowledge into law, into labor law, you know, like tax, you know, working with accountants, attorneys, working with the municipality, you know, working with the permits, working with people, employees. There's employees. So now I can advise my clients more when deciding to purchase an investment property, which those are my favorite closings. So my favorite, or basically what I want to specialize. Yeah, I can provide them with what things to do, what things to avoid. So before we even sign an offer, I will give you head-ups on all these situations that might happen to you and that you have to take into consideration when deciding to purchase a property. So that's really important, folks, to understand that, or to have that information. Well, that was my introduction. I always mention the areas of Vallarta. For example, when I introduced to a client, I mentioned the best areas to put their money. You know, I qualify them first and say, you know, if you're just wanted to live there long term, you can buy whatever you want. If you like Marina, because the lifestyle is, you know, it's great, it's peaceful, it's really appealing. Even in hotel zone or fluvial, you know, it depends where you, what do you like to do with the property, or what's your plan, long-term plan, or it's just as an investment, so you can sell it later, you know, like you just put your money and leave there and just sell it to the appraisal. Or if you purchase the property and you don't need the money, if you purchase the property and you can just let it stay there, like not rentals or anybody, just your private things, you come, like a vacation home, basically, like a second home or vacation home. I can, you know, recommend you some like beautiful house and just in Fluvial, Gaviotas. So every location or the feature of the property, it depends on what your needs are. So if you're looking for an investment property that will provide you high rentals, my recommendation will be romantic zone, for example. So, you know, as I mentioned before, I have some experience with rentals, and I didn't do that. I also did several other locations in Vallarta, and I kind of understand the market, like the rental markets in each location and in each areas of Puerto Vallarta. And we'll say the romantic zone at least has the, you know, if the price is right and you know, so many factors, if you have great reviews are really important. So it's most likely for a property in romantic zone to be occupied for 80% of the year round. You know, with the, again, has to be the rate, the right rate, and a lot of factors about it. So that's that. Otherwise, if you rent it in Marina, there are some buildings, some condominiums that they don't allow you short-term rentals. It's more like family, it's more like long-term rentals, it's more like for, say, seniors. It's a senior area or for seniors. So it's beautiful, it's a great location, it's pretty close from the airport, so it has a lot of facilities, but it's not area for you if your needs are different or if your needs are. So the clients I would recommend Marina mostly for seniors. I have never had a client for under 40 that they want the Marina area. They normally go downtown or romantic zone. So I would say seniors, they just like to be in the middle of everything without too much noise or without too much traffic. It's more like it's a community here. You know, in Marina Vallarta, it's more like a community. So you can have that between neighbors, you can have that community. There's also the golf right here within the marina, and you know, there's restaurants, of course, there's gyms, you know, there's a lot of facilities, but it's for a more quiet ambience or more quiet people or buyers. The pros for romantic zone, especially for romantic zone, Amapas, South Shore, you know, like all that areas south of Puerto Vallarta. You get a higher occupancy for your unit. So if your plan is to purchase a property to pay a mortgage in the States, for example, or to pay the mortgage in Puerto Vallarta, my recommendation will be buy in romantic zone, because that's where you will get your money back in rentals, and they're more flexible in with short-term rentals. You know, there's not how you call it? It's not the HOA allows the short-term rental. So that's the main one. The next one is that there's specific locations of the specific buildings that they have a waiting list. And there's buildings they do have a waiting list for people that wants to purchase, but there's no units available. So that's also really important. And there's, you know, special buildings, special streets, special locations. Like I can tell you some of them. There's Divine. There is Pulpito Signature by Pinnacle. There is that street is really Desire. There is also Sayan, Inda by Sayan, all those beachfront condos, and so those are really interesting projects or buildings, property to put your money in. And when you sell, you will get higher appreciation than any other location in Puerto Vallarta. So I was doing CMA for an analysis, and I was doing an analysis for a client not long time ago, like the beginning of the year. He has a property in Inda Sayan, and the appreciation between years. So from 2022 to 2023, there was a 23% appreciation. From 2023 to 2024, it was a 6.7 appreciation, and for 2024 to 2025, it was so 14.85. So I'm talking about closed listings. I'm not talking about active, everything is closed. So it's a really good building to invest, to put your money in, and you will sell it and you can just have a really good return. So that's just one example. I know I haven't done analysis to every single condo, any single buildings, but I know that that has the highest added value of the different areas in Puerto Vallarta. So that will be the second reason. And then the third reason will be just in general, if we compare with properties in the States or in Canada, is the tax value. So the property tax, it's much less than any other properties in the States. So for example, my client's property It's value in 1.295. This one is located in the Vasayan, 1,295,000. And the property tax for this unit is 546 per year. So that's just for a $1 million property, a $546 per year. It's just unbelievable. It's really something. The property tax is calculated based on the assessed value, and that's one of the reasons that the property tax is so affordable, and it's just perfect. And the transaction value is, it's two different things. Let's see. I don't want to close myself. When I meet a client and he talks about what he's looking at investment property, I will like every single real estate purchase that you plans. What are your needs? Your needs is just to cover your vacations every 6 months or something. If you want to invite family and just let them stay at your place, at your house, you need something to use as a personal use, I will direct you to this neighborhood, and we will see different properties and houses or condominiums based on your needs. So, but if you decided to purchase a property because the income is needed in your future, or for purchase of the house, of the condo, whatever. If you need the income from rentals, I will direct you to Romantic Zone, for example. But another thing about, we were listing about benefits, costs and pros about, everything is so beautiful, I'm talking about all the pros of Romantic Zone, which is great, it's one of the areas that I really enjoy to sell, and I know that's the place to go. That's the area that recommend for that purpose. Anyways, so that's the pros. So the cons is the price per square feet in Romantic Zone. It's really high. We're talking about 400, 500, up to 600 feet. So that could be one of the cons. That could be one of the cons, or the most important cons to consider. Also, Romantic Zone is very active. If we stay in Romantic Zone, it's a very active location or area. So you will need to be okay with the noise. The noise should be something that doesn't bother to you, because it's pretty active and there's a lot of people and there's a lot of party, and that's where all the tourists goes, and that's why it's a hot spot for rentals. That could be one of the cons. Now, if you want to be South Shore without that noise, I would recommend you Amapas or Conchas Chinas, and those locations that is within walking distance to the Romantic Zone, but it's not there. So you have all the attractions, but with the most quiet environment. So that could be Romantic Zone of the South, so of the South Shore. So that's. I get asked often how to get a mortgage in Puerto Vallarta. And the process of applying for a mortgage in Puerto Vallarta, there's different banks that provide the service, like for example Intercam and MexLife. That's one of the most well-known bank institutions that help assist foreigners to get a mortgage in Puerto Vallarta. So they will require all your information, and in order to get approved, there's a minimum of 500 score credit that you have to prove from your place of residence. It could be either the US or Canada. That's the information they take from you in order to approve you the mortgage. Okay, that's a minimum 700. People often ask me about getting mortgages in Puerto Vallarta. So you can start the process in one of my favorite banks, which is Intercam. There's another ones, and we can explore those options too. I already have experience with Intercam, so I can provide you my experience with them. So you start all the process, provide all your paperwork, and they will take the credit score from your home office. They will take the credit score from your home country. They will take the credit score from your home country. This is applicable for the United States and Canada and Canadians. You will need to have a credit score for a minimum of 700. And there's a minimum of 35% down payment, and the property, the minimum transaction value has to be 250,000 US. One of the downsides that we experience with getting a mortgage in Puerto Vallarta it's the insurance. So the insurance that my client is paying right now, it's somewhere around 2,800. So it's 2,800 US per year, and that's insurance, and then the monthly payments are somewhere around 2,500. So he got a interest rate for 7%. That's the range, from 7% up to 12%. That's the range of the mortgage that you can apply, or the interest rate of the mortgage. It's very common. It's not a 4%. We never had a 4% before. So that's a common interest rate that they provide in Puerto Vallarta or in Mexico, actually. It's overall the country. That's the minimum interest rate. And so that could be the downside. Another thing is that there's a lot of paperwork. Mexico, it's not like the US or even Canada. There's a lot of paperwork here, and if you have the opportunity to take a credit from your houses, if you really want to invest here and you don't want to use the cash, you can always work with somebody else's money, which is the bank in this case. You can apply or you can request a mortgage for your houses or your house in the US, purchase here, get a vacation home and use that income to pay the mortgage back in the US. You can get a better rate, you can get a much easier process. So that will be my recommendation. If you really want to apply for a mortgage here, it's possible for sure. It just takes more time and it's more paperwork. It's more of the process. If you have equity on your property in the US or Canada, you can refinance mortgage and use the cash to purchase here. No, it's not common. We don't have a really good system on loans. It's not really a thing here. So it's or mortgage, they go between same 10-12%. So there's a way that you can get a mortgage, but you have to work like for 30 years. You have to go, one of your employees' benefit is work for 20 years. You put money into Infonavit. That's the name. That's a Mexican name. I don't know how to translate it, but Infonavit, you put money for like over 20 years, you get something safe, and then you can use it to purchase a property. But it's crazy. You will never finish to pay that. It's really sad. It's really sad, but it is what it is. Mortgages are not so common for Mexican citizens. It's more common to purchase a property in cash. One other option is that they can use seller's financing. Amazing. That's really sad because it's like, for example, I'm learning a lot also too, and so I have my stepsons will purchase their first house like pretty soon. So and there's this benefit from the government that they, as a first-time home buyers, they only get to put the 3%. It's 3% versus 35 or 30%. That's insane, So it's really sad how, I will be interesting to know the difference, what makes it different from the US to here. But right now, I know that there's a lot of benefits and a lot of incentive that the US provides to their people, to their citizens, that we don't have it here. So yeah, I'll say that, if you want to purchase your vacation home and you want to be here and enjoy a vacation home in Puerto Vallarta, that will be my recommendation. Get the equity from your house in the US or Canada and refinance your property. Just pay cash here. Put your money in the right property. It could be a fixer-upper. It can be, in a location or area that you can get a stable rental income. Use the money to pay in the US. That would be my recommendation. But there's options, you can just decide which one it works better for you. Another thing that I mention a lot is that when they come here, I see it a lot with the multifamily, with the multifamily property. That just picture California like Puerto Vallarta. Picture how when all the rights, the social rights, when it comes to rent your property.